Welcome back to Nails and Yak podcast. So today I'm joined by Liv from Liv4Nails and we're going to be talking all about memorable clients. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. So do you want to start by telling everybody a little bit about how long you've been a nail tech, your journey to being a nail tech, what it is you do, just a bit about yourself?
I mean, yeah, it's quite a long story actually, considering I've been doing nails now, I'd say, since 2018. How long's that? 8 years? 7?
This is why we're not mathematicians.
maybe 2017, 2018, whatever.
Yep.
And I did that for a while, had some bumps in the road with sort of COVID and things like that. So I started just from my mum's sort of spare room and from there went and rented a room in a salon. And then from there, just realised I wanted sort of my own space to put sort of my own vibe. So I rented my own studio. And that's when I think Liv4Nails actually started, because before that I was like Liv4Nails or whatever, and I hadn't really like found my groove in the industry yet. And I think from then when I got my studio, that's when everything really started to sort of like come together and like everything started to snowball a bit with like Instagram and things.
Yeah, because your branding's really nice, isn't it?
I really like it now. It's changed a bit throughout, but it's always had the similar kind of vibe to it. But that's sort of in that studio as well is when more sort of brands started taking notice and things like that. So I got to go to like different events, and that's I think when I really got into all like sort of the Instagrammy side as well.
Yeah.
But then COVID hit. And I'd recently taken my first employee on, which was like really exciting, but obviously that put a bit of a spanner in the works.
I didn't know you had an employee. That's really cool. That's really
so
cool.
that was it was pretty fleeting really, but more just because of the
world
when COVID and everything came in, and she was like really, really good and everything, but then went on to be self-employed. When it sort of came to that and we came to that decision when everything had got a bit difficult during COVID, I'd recently just got a house and had loads of space in the garden. So called my husband in to get his DIY skills on and build me a cabin in the garden, which has been really, really good. So when everything reopened again after COVID, that's where I was working.
Yeah.
And everything was great. But I think I just started struggling a bit with sort of boundaries for myself. So I was taking on too much work and letting everything get quite overwhelming sort of time-wise. And also I let Instagram, I think this is actually where the story probably takes a bit of a turn to be a bit negative, but it does end up being positive again. I started sort of getting a bit overwhelmed with everything. I started letting Instagram for some reason like get into my head, so I'd look at everybody and be like, oh, what, I don't know, probably a bit like, would you call it like imposter syndrome? Because I was a bit like, why would I be doing it if they're doing it and they're good, I suppose. It's just negative for no reason.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, just
like
sort
comparison to other people, and
definitely. And I let that just like take over, just overthinking about things like that, to the point where while working sort of 13-hour days and thinking like that, I'd just come to a bit of a sense of like burnout. And that's when I decided, do you know what, I'm gonna have a break, because it got to a point, I suppose, where I couldn't see not any way out, but I didn't really have anything else. And I'd just focused so much on the negatives, I'd stopped to sort of seeing the positives and was just getting so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So I actually took probably a 9-month break.
And initially, because I remember when you took that break, it wasn't like, I'm going to take 6 months, was it? It was like, I'm quitting now.
Yeah, it was like, I'm done. I just like, I couldn't see any sort of way out's the wrong word. I don't know, like just any light in the situation for that sort of burnout feeling to let up a bit. So the only way I could see of getting out of that kind of rut was just not being in anything to do with anything like that anymore.
Yeah, just
and I think because I was working
from nails completely.
Yeah. So I randomly went and did something totally different and came and worked in Manchester doing technology sales. And I'd say maybe a week in, all the positives of nails flooded back of how nice of a job it was. It's so weird getting so clouded.
I think when you're in it though, and like for you as well, you're from like working from home, aren't you? So obviously that comes with loads of positives, and you can have your space exactly how you want, and no commute time, there's so many benefits, but you've not got anyone to bounce off as much, have you? And be like, oh, today's been tough.
Yeah. Exactly. Now I've done it and I'm back into the job, like what our job is, and it's great and it's amazing, and I feel so lucky to be in the position that I'm in, which I did once beforehand feel like. I don't know what happened. It was just, again, just letting that comparison and things get into my head. But watching other people in sort of like these office environments, and they had like all these work friends, and they were going on meals and nights out, and I felt like, well, in life, I'm a massive sufferer, is that the word, of FOMO.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm the worst. So with everything, it's like, I feel like,
should I be doing that? Is that better?
Yeah,
grass is greener kind of vibe.
And I'd never ever had a job like that either, ever. So I went to college, did like fashion and clothing, and within that I was just working in normal little, shop jobs and things.
Mm-hmm.
And then straight from there, went to uni, did prosthetic special effects. So out of uni,
yeah. I never knew that.
Didn't you?
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I kind of realised I didn't really like that industry, so I started just doing normal makeup, and that's how I then got into nails, because I was doing freelance makeup, and I was working in a salon at one point, seeing people like doing all these nails and nail art, and I thought, that is the job for me.
Yeah, that's my vibe.
So sort of, obviously makeup's a very similar job, so I've always only done this kind of thing. Like, yes, I've been in salons, but it's always just been my own business, just me, like me doing all the tax and all this, that and the other.
Yeah,
and I just
you're a bit of a lone wolf, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like everywhere you've been.
So I just wanted a bit of that sense of like, you just go to work, do your job, have some fun, make some friends, come home, forget about the job.
And ultimately get your wage at the end of the month. Like, if it's been a tough month and your effort's been 80% rather than like 150, like, you still get paid. And like, it's not all on you to make it a success.
And that seemed like, I suppose, me just watching everybody else, I was looking at it through like rose tinted glasses and just watching everybody have this fun. And then as soon as I started doing it, I was like, wow. I was like, oh,
this is not what I thought.
I like had fun for like a couple of weeks, like playing office, but I was like, no. And I realized like I am creative and I do thrive in being in creative roles. And when I was trying to, I just felt like it was just like this really weird, serious world where like everybody was just like pretending, because it all just felt like playing office, and it was so serious. So literally it was, and I was just like,
guys,
what?
None of this matters. Nobody's dying.
And I was just like, what is going on? I'd be sitting in meetings and stuff like, is this real? I didn't have a clue what anyone was talking about. And so about, I'd say literally like a week in, I knew that this wasn't going to be what I was going to be doing. But I stuck it out for a little bit, and then it came to like my probation interview thing, whatever it is, presentation. And I just came home and I said to Bruce, I'm going back to nails. And he was like, are you crazy? And I was like, doing this, I've realized like actually it's brought back, it was exactly what I needed, because it took away all of that burnout, because I realized the issue was me just not having my boundaries there, me focusing on things that didn't matter, because I was fully booked. So I don't know why I would be getting so focused on sort of like the new world of Instagram. So like the way it's changed. So with all like reels and everything now, they're obviously amazing and so good for people. But for me, I was struggling to do that and then do the full-time job as a nail tech.
I think it is so easy, isn't it? Like, obviously social media is amazing for building your business, and if you do want to do things like work with brands, etc. But at the same time, just because someone's got a big social media following doesn't mean they're fully booked. And just because someone's not got well, you did have a big social following as well, but just because someone's not posting every week and putting loads of time into social doesn't mean they've got an empty diary. Like, so for you, obviously, it sounds like you were putting a lot of pressure on yourself to do social media that you weren't enjoying just because you felt you should be, but you didn't need to because you had the clients.
Exactly. So that was it. And I'd just put so much focus on that and lost like the sense of like what actually mattered. Like, and I even before I went to the job, I just couldn't see that. Like, Bruce would be like, yeah, but you're fully booked. And I was like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. And then soon as I came back, I was like, oh yeah, no, it does. Like, that's nothing. Yeah, it's great if you're having fun doing it, but and just take that pressure off and just do it because it's fun rather than because you need something from it. So coming back and thinking like that, and actually just cutting my hours down so that I don't feel like I'm getting overwhelmed with like all the rest of it. It was just taking a step back and realizing what it was that was stressing me out, and realizing actually they were all like fixable things, and then I could still enjoy
the job at the core of what it is.
Because at the end of the day, it was what I loved doing. And I realized when I came away like, oh, my job's amazing because I just sit with nice people every day, paint different pictures, get to make things look nice, and
have a good chat.
Yeah, like it's not even like a real job. Like it is, but when I went and
You're
did
about to
like
get cancer by every nail tech ever, like
yeah,
it's a real job.
But because it's so fun, like it's like what everybody like wishes for, because you go into work and you have fun. Yeah, you're gonna have like the
you're gonna have frustrations and hard days and challenges, aren't you?
But when you go into that office environment of doing something you're not completely interested in, I think that's the thing as well. You've got to enjoy what you do a little bit, otherwise you just can't.
Yeah, you can't force it, can you?
No. So because of that, like that made me see like, oh, actually I've got like the best of both worlds, like something that's going to pay me a wage but I can enjoy. Like surely that's what everybody wants.
That's what everybody hopes for. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how stupid for me to think that. But it's definitely the best thing that I could have done, because otherwise I would never have seen what my issues were. But just knowing now, like the things that I've done wrong, well, not wrong necessarily,
but just you've learnt lessons from burning yourself out, and you now know what to do differently this time.
And then that's brought me back to doing the job, but like my way, which I could have done obviously previously, but I didn't know how to. And I've just sort of learned that now, and I've come back and it's amazing again, and I get to do my hours, and I've got a really like good set of clients who I get to do like amazing nail art on and stuff, which is what I really like enjoy, kind of where my brand and business has been built from as well. And yeah, that's just me now. I think I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, I think. But...
I feel like nail appointments always do, so the podcast is definitely going to do that when it's two nail techs together.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to get you on the podcast, really, because I think you've gone on such a journey and now you've found your way back to nails, and it'll just be really interesting to talk to you. And I want to hear all about your clients, because you've been doing this for a long time. Did you say it was 7 years?
Yeah, I think so. I can't do the maths, but 7 to 8 years. It's probably coming on to 8 years.
So you've seen a lot of clients in that time, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen good ones, you've seen bad ones. Like you know, you've obviously got a lot of experience in clients. So yeah, let's talk about the most memorable ones. Welcome to Nails and Yap, the podcast where I do people's nails and we have a good old natter. I'm Laura, I'm a nail tech, and after years of hearing the funniest, deepest and most random chats, I thought, why not turn it into a podcast? Whether you're a fellow nail tech, a client who loves a good catch-up, or someone who's just nosy about the beauty world, you're in the right place. So I want to talk a little bit about clients we will never forget. So have you had any clients who you've met and you're like, they've just brought the vibe, or it's just been a memorable appointment, or the client is memorable for some reason?
Yeah, I've honestly, so many of my clients now, they're like, it's definitely more of like a friendship basis. Like there's so many girls that I get on so well with, and they've been coming to me for like absolute like years, because we just like gel in the right way, which is like the best thing to find. I've got like one client, she's just so lovely. She just like is so thoughtful. So every Christmas she'll like hand paint me a card with things that like remind her of me.
So nice.
So I used to have like a little vintage car, like a Figaro thing, a little green car, and like one year she painted the car on a Christmas card with like a little Christmas tree on top, and it's just like all nice things like that. She'll find little bits of like decoration, and like the other day she found like a little, it was like a jelly cat vibe, but not a jelly cat. Do you know what I mean? Like, and she's seen it and she was like, oh my God, and it's like this little Battenberg cake. But like the colours of the cabin, and it's just like so little and cute, so it just like sits on my shelves now.
That's adorable.
And yeah, she's just amazing. But my clients are just so thoughtful. It seems really like material me saying this, because I don't like expect presents from anyone, but these are just things that they've done that like make me, it's just been so thoughtful. In fact, like the excitement of the cake that she bought me the other day was just like too much. She was like, calm down, it's a piece of cake. But I'd been speaking about like school cake to her, and the next time she came, she was like, I went past the bakery and I bought you the cake. And I was like, thank you so much. I've just got, honestly, there's at the moment, especially like every single client is just like a friend, and it's just so amazing, because it's just like sitting with a friend of each hour of the day,
having a catch
up and
because you do, don't you? You get to know their lives, you get to know things about them, they learn about you as well. And I find for me, I don't know if your clients are the same, but I'll have clients who come and they sort of will say, oh, I really needed that. And then afterwards I'm like, so did I.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the clients that we're making feel better, like the clients make our day better as well.
Definitely. And randomly as well, like this is where it sort of moves from like clients to friendship, I suppose. But me and this girl always speak about like country music and stuff, and we're like, oh, and she's like, oh, like we like the same things, like all that. And she'd got like some free tickets to this gig, and like no one could go with her, and she was like, who do I know that would maybe not know this but like it? So she messaged me like, are you free tonight, because I've got these tickets to this singer. So we both ended up going to like a country singers gig on a random Wednesday night in Manchester. And that was amazing. But I think it's so nice that like I've got clients who would think that, and they'd want to spend time like away from their nail appointments with me and things.
Yeah, they're sort of not just coming to you because you're good at nails, they're coming to you because they like who you are as a person as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what's amazing about this job, because you spend so much one-on-one time with people. Like there has to be a level of like, it's not just that they like the nails that you're doing. I mean, I'm sure sometimes it is. Sometimes people probably come in and think this girl's so annoying, but I like what she's
this girl doesn't show up.
But I like what
stop yapping on about country music.
And she's thinking that like,
crack on.
not again. But yeah, like there's got to be a level of like friendship there with all your clients, because you spend like, you know, a good hour and a half, 2 hours together a month.
Yeah, and I also think it having that basis then means people feel like they can say, oh, actually, I'm not sure on that colour.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people will say to me, can you suggest something that, like, what have you done recently? Is there anything you want to do? And then I'll show them and they go, oh, actually, I hate that. Whereas I think if they didn't feel comfortable with me, they wouldn't be able to say that. And then they'd end up with something they hated and go away and be like, oh, I felt too awkward to say no.
That's it. I always stress that to my clients. I'm like, one thing I always say to people, I'm like, please, like, don't be a drama queen, and remember that when it does not matter until it's set. So if you don't like anything, guess what? Like I can just wipe it off. It's not permanent.
Just tell me.
I'm not tattooing you. Like it's not like I couldn't. Oh my goodness! Like everybody that's been like doing like semi-permanent makeup and stuff now, as well, I think I'd be so terrified.
Yeah. Me loose on someone's eyebrows.
Yeah, it's such a talent, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm a wimp. I couldn't do it. But
are you sure? You trust me with this?
Imagine. I'm too clumsy. I'm too clumsy. I'd slip one time, and this is fine because this was ages ago. But I actually trained in lashes as well, so I did lashes for a little bit. Absolutely hated it. I was awful. But I'm so clumsy and I get so distracted, and I, you know, go off and start thinking other things. And you know, with lashes, you put glue in a little in like a little ring sometimes.
Yeah, it's like on your finger, isn't it? Yeah.
And the reason why I work on my own now as well is because I get really distracted with people and other things going on around me that I can't stay concentrated.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get involved in other people's this is actually so bad. Other people's other people's conversation in the salon. As I was doing it, I turned around and I spilled. She wouldn't know to this day. I spilt the ring. This is actually so bad because it's like chemical and everything. Sorry, I know that she's still about and it's all fine. But
I found alive.
I spilt the whole glue on her forehead and stuck my thumb to her forehead. And I had to get a glue remover, and I was just like, oh my god, and it was all fine, got it off. She never knew, finished the lashes, no,
the glue was bad enough, like, but then when you said your thumb as well,
it was the worst. I was getting little these things trying to, and it was just, and then from then I was like, I don't think I'm going to do lashes anymore.
I don't think it's for me.
It requires too much concentration. But yeah, I'm a lot more careful with nails. But that was do you know what? I've just gone off and I can't even remember what.
No, I can't. I don't know how on earth we got to tattooing brows and lash glue on foreheads, but do
you know what? Sorry, before I started that random story, I think it was actually going to be a good point, and I've just completely took us on a tangent of tattooing. So
hold that thought, 'cause I need to get the charger out. Yeah, I cannot remember how we got onto eyelash glue on foreheads, but that's just how nail conversations go, don't they? I think we were saying about how clients kind of feel comfortable and get to know you, so you're not just the nail tech, you are like more of a friend, and they sort of learn about your life as well.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's so nice going the other way as well, because I love when a client comes in, especially when it's like first date and like, oh, they're like, oh, I'm getting back out there, I'm going on a first date, and then it's oh, I'm seeing him again, and like in 3-week increments, you're like, you go from like, first ever text, oh, I'm texting this boy, to like, and they're like, phone's pinging through the appointment, to like, oh my god, he's proposed, and you're like, whoa, I've been here the whole time.
And it's so nice though, because you do end up being able to be involved in like such special like and memorable moments for people. And like I've had like a client before where she didn't know she was getting proposed to, but I did, so I was like let into that beforehand. But she's like a really like out there person usually, who has like bright oranges and all patterns, and she was wanting like pick and mix nails with everything everywhere, and I somehow managed to talk her into getting, I don't know how she didn't suspect it realistically, because I managed to talk her into like a nude colour like this with just like a silver swirl.
And did you know she'd want something more simple for the engagement set? Is that kind of why you were like, let's not do bold?
She would have been mortified, I think, if she had all her crazy nails, and she would have said, if you knew, why would you not tell me? So I was like trying so hard not to be. She said I did a good job, but I was trying
to be suspicious. Have you thought about a French though?
I was like, well, you've always wanted to do a bit of a pink, and they're like quite a nice length now, aren't they? I was like, so maybe we could, and this would be like a good time to do it, I think. And like, but she was like going on holiday and going on another holiday, so there'd be like a bit of a grow out on things. So I was like, you won't really see the grow out there, and then once you come back and it gets into more summer, then you can go a bit bright. And she's like, yeah, to be fair, because I do always want to do that pink. And I was like, yeah, you do, just go for it.
Then
sorry,
did you get the picture through of the engagement? And you're like,
yeah, I was like, I know. I knew that was coming.
Why do you think you've got pink nails right now, gal?
Which is obviously like so nice and so crazy. I'd say as well, like it's mad because people who don't get their nails done are like men who like don't necessarily understand nail appointments. I'm like, why are you doing that again? Or why are you doing that again?
What do you mean you go and sit in for 2 hours?
Yeah, like no one, it sounds so cringy, but like understands like how special it can be, and like how much like it like connects people in that way. And
yeah, massively. Like good clients and good appointments, it's therapy. It is therapy.
Definitely. It's like a little social thing as well, isn't it? And and then because of like the nature of my work, it like where having like the cabin in the garden and things, it's quite nice because I can do things like, I had this wedding party once, and I'm really close to her sister now actually, and we had spent the whole day, so they had me for the whole day. All their bridesmaids came in, the bride came in, the mother of the bride came in, all at the same time, and they were just like having prosecco and like chilling, and I was doing all the nails, and it was like just such a nice day.
That's
like
such a good service.
And it was only like 2 days,
isn't it?
and it was only like 2 days before the wedding as well. So like, there was all the nerves there and all that. Everyone was like planning everything, and it felt like being like proper part of it. And
you're involved in like the big life milestones as well.
And they were made up
because it's like, it's the engagements, it's the weddings, it's the like baby shower nails. Like when they have the baby, like I remember once I did one, like I had a new client and she had a pedicure and a manicure, and I think we did white on her hands and her toes. It's funny what you remember, isn't it? Like she specifically had white, but she was going into hospital. She was going to have, she was due and she was having the baby and stuff. And she was like, I'll just be in touch about another appointment. And then I went to her house because I was still mobile at that point, and I did the appointment, and the baby was just there. And she said like the baby hadn't even met some of the friends yet. And I was like, hi.
Literally, I have so many things like that when like say they come early or something, the baby, so then the next appointment they'll come in and they'll just be like this baby with them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like where's that come from? But I've had actually so many things recently, obviously in life, you hate cancellations and things. They can be stressful, but the best cancellations to get is when I've actually had this happen to me twice. On the day someone messaged me and say, I've gone into labour. Like I'm like, oh come. My gosh, I'm like, this is amazing. Like it's like the only cancellation you think, oh, like this is so exciting.
Every other one you're like, oh, that's just impacting my day. That one
like it's so exciting. Because realistically as well, it's pretty much like 9 nail appointments, isn't it? So it feels so quick, and all of a sudden they're just messaging you like, oh, I'm in labour. But to be able to do those sort of like labour nails, that sounds like birth nails.
Yeah, they are memorable appointments though, aren't they? Like I think those are the most memorable clients and appointments, is things like that when it's like big milestones.
I was chatting to one of my clients the other day actually, and we were like talking about all the nails, and we were like referencing them all, and she was like, oh well, that was my, because she'd gone through like an IVF journey and things, and she was like, oh well, that was my like, I don't know, what would you call it, like when the embryo transfer, she was like, they were my nails for my embryo transfer, these were my ones for my baby shower, and then we did that for that one, didn't we? And she was like listing off all these things, like, oh, and they were my wedding one, did we do that for my hen do? And like that, like all the different things that like nails had been included in, how we were remembering them. It's just
fun, isn't it? Yeah. So obviously we've chatted about memorable clients. What about the challenging clients? Do you have any clients that are sort of more challenging or tricky, or any that are sort of memorable for maybe more negative reasons, would you say?
My trickiest clients, and always will be, are family, and sometimes friends as well, actually.
Yeah,
friends and family. But to be fair for them, I'm like a nightmare nail tech as well, I'd say, because my sister trying to get an appointment out of me is like trying to get blood out of stone. I'm like,
you're
well,
getting me at my worst. Like, you're not getting
maybe.
customer service. You are getting me.
My mum will just come round and she'll just like show me her hands, and I'm like, no, not today, not today. And but then my sister, I put her on a ban for a little bit, because I've said, until you respect my work, you're not having them, because she'll go and she's like picking them and all this, and then she I'm probably doing it now actually, but like tensing her hands up so much, and she just does everything to do my head in. But
my mum's favourite line used to be, do you treat all your clients like this?
So I'm like, if you were a good client, I'd be nice to you, but you're not.
It always makes me laugh as well, you know, when people sort of say, I probably should do an episode on this actually, about like clients will become friends faster than friends will become clients. Yeah. And I'm like, good. I don't want them. Yeah. I think as well, sometimes with friends, it's like the blurred lines. Like in an ideal world, your friends would be like, oh my God, I'm going to give you a tip because you're my friend as well. But like sometimes people expect discounts, or like they'll turn up late, or they'll ask you to squeeze it in when you're already socialising.
With my friends who have been clients, I've just kind of been, it's actually awful really, but otherwise it does blur like the boundaries. I've kind of been like, oh, go on the booking system.
I've said that before, because then it's obvious that it's like you're taking it seriously, and it is a job. It sounds horrible. Yeah, I was going to say it's a transaction, but job is the right word. Yeah, it's my job, and ultimately, if I'm sticking to my boundaries and doing really well at not working overtime, then you are taking a clot. Yeah, you are taking a slot from somebody that could be a full paying client. So
that's it.
I can't just earn less this month because you fancy getting your nails done. Like
that's it. And like when it comes around to like Christmas time and stuff, and like that, like obviously they're getting their nails done as well as like a service that they want, and they want the service, so they want the slot when they want it, like for the events that they've got. Yeah. So if it's gonna be the same structure as like a normal client would be, then it needs to be the same, because it's in your working hours, and that like I've got
like if you're happy for me to say the only appointment I've got that I'm happy to give you is, I don't know, 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night, that's when I can do you. It suits me. You're like, do not come to me at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night.
Oh my God, I am so sorry. Do you know what happened? So I drank, but then I thought, shit, am I allowed to drink on it? And then I looked at Laura and pulled a face, but then I didn't think hadn't bothered Laura. So then she just like carried on. And then I thought, oh, I was allowed to drink. And then, but then I realized that I'd pulled a funny face. So then it made me laugh, because I was like, oh my God, in the camera, I'm like pulling this ridiculous face just because I had a sip. And then it went up my nose.
Yeah, I think for me as well, it's probably family. Like when I think of tricky clients, obviously there was some early on that were more challenging, but that was just because I was more inexperienced, you know, when someone
definitely
sort of asks for something and I'm going, and I'm panicking and I'm thinking, oh my word, or like,
and it's just not knowing how to deal with situations in the beginning as well, because in the very beginning I did have like some things where I was new, and as my prices started to go up, people would query that, and they're not necessarily being difficult or anything, but I would panic because I think, oh no, I don't know how to respond to this. But it's all just about communication really, isn't it? So you never really, once you are a bit more experienced, you don't necessarily have problems with clients, because as long as everything's communicated well, and people are just trying to understand, they're not necessarily being difficult. It's if you went to a shop and all of a sudden they charged you something different, you'd be like, oh, sorry, it was this last time. They're not being funny, they're just wondering like, oh, what is it that's, so just communicating that in the right way, it does eliminate those like tricky situations with clients, as long as everybody sort of understands and is
Yeah,
aware,
I agree.
it's
I
fine.
think for me as well, I sort of don't really tend to get too many difficult clients, and I think a big part of that is booking system.
Yeah,
Like having a booking system, it
changes your
weeds
life,
out the
doesn't
time.
it?
It weeds out the time wasters.
Yeah,
If someone's not planning on turning up to an appointment, but like they'll be put off. Like they're never gonna book in with me because they have to pay a deposit to book in.
yeah.
So it
That's actually one thing I probably do need to do. But
do you feel like you need to, or
I'd say so. To be honest, at the moment it's kind of okay, but it will go through like stages where I'll maybe get an influx of people, new people kind of booking in, and then maybe they won't show up because that is the thing about an online booking system as well. I think sometimes it obviously saves so much time, and the pros definitely outweigh the cons, but it's so easy to just like book an appointment if there's no sort of like policy or anything in place. It's so easy to just go, I can't be bothered, I won't show up. Whereas previously I did have policies and stuff in place, which definitely now I feel like do make a difference. I've just not worked on, so I just changed over booking system, and it's not
get a deposit.
easy.
Honestly, get a deposit taken. It is the easiest way, and I find, because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups and people share stories of nightmare clients, and I'm like, I just don't really have any. And I think because usually the nightmare client stories are about things like no shows or people being expecting a lot for very little money and things like that. And I just find the deposit just sort of eliminates that. There's no questions
I do love that as well with the booking system, because obviously you can lay out in writing there in black and white what's included in each service, so people know what they're getting from it, and it's not like a shock or anything when they know what.
Well, they're not sort of going in and thinking, oh, I've got this budget, and then when I turn up it's going to be more on the day, and then they're sort of arguing with you at the point
it's
of
all
payment.
sort of in their email.
It's done, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely. And like, but I think I am quite lucky now, is I don't have, it doesn't necessarily bother me like that much or become like a massive problem with like deposits and things, because I do have such long-standing clients. So it doesn't I don't know how to put it, like I don't notice it as much. I only occasionally see it, like if there's like a midday slot that's been taken by someone quite last minute, and then maybe they've just got plans come up, and because it maybe with booking systems sometimes, because they are less personal, you don't actually speak to someone, you just maybe don't really realise that you need to.
They don't realise there's somebody at the other end sat waiting for them.
Definitely.
No, I'm really lucky. I don't really have many nightmare clients. I agree on the family. I think, it is tricky with family. Everyone in the beauty industry gets it. The salon I'm in is owned by two sisters, and both of them have said before, like, clients are the worst. And I think everybody knows clients are the worst. Sorry. Family are the worst clients. I think it's just universal, whether you're a hairdresser, a lash tech, a nail tech. I think family
it's
are just
the best way. It's the best way for it to be, though, because at least with them, like, I can shout back. Like, I can say no.
Yeah, if your nightmare client is someone new, you're like, got to put on your customer service voice and be firm.
They don't get the customer service from me, let me tell you.
Yeah, my family do not either. I'd say that's it really. I don't really have any nightmare clients, which I'm really lucky. Watch me jinx it now and end up with a nightmare influx.
We'll be messaging next week like, oh my goodness.
I've had like a few appointments that were like memorable, not in a bad way for being negative, but just like, that's wild. Like one of mine was, one of my clients came once, and she brought a live stream of a funeral with her.
No way.
Yeah, like she won't mind me saying it at all, but basically she'd had a nail appointment booked for ages.
Multitasking at its finest.
I know. Well, honestly, she was like, nothing's going to keep me from my nail appointment.
Yeah. That is dedication to the cause, isn't it?
Yeah, literally. But she basically, it was an Irish family, and the burials are really quick, which I didn't know. So she couldn't actually get over to Ireland in time.
Yeah.
And she was just like, my nan needs to see that I've attended this funeral. Yeah. So she was like, I'm really sorry. I'm going to pop it on really quietly in the corner, and it'll show that like I've attended. Hope you don't mind. I was like, no, it's absolutely fine. And she was just like, I bet you've never had a funeral at a nail appointment.
First time for everything.
Yeah, literally. I was like, no, you would be the first. And at the minute, the last. But if anyone is listening to this and thinking, you know what, I've got a funeral coming up and I would like to get my nails done during it. That is a service I can offer.
Well, yeah, we can add that one.
Only over Zoom though.
Yeah. No mobile appointments for that one, sorry.
Yeah. So I want to talk about green and red flags in clients then. So give me, should we do 2 or should I do 3? How
many have you
creative are you
got?
thinking? Well, yeah. Right, red flags, go on. Give me 2 or 3.
Yeah, so red flags for me aren't necessarily, I don't have mega amounts when people are with me. Because they're, again, like with communication things, it's all just like a bit of a laugh. I understand that I'm there for them, so they can do what they need to in their nail appointments, as long as we can get their nails done and, you know, they'll give me the hands when I need them. Like, I'm not that bothered about people like on their, I know people, it really bothers them if they're like on their phones or this or that. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
if
that
people
doesn't bother me.
need to take a call or they need to finish some text or whatever, that doesn't bother me. But when I have like new clients messaging, sometimes I feel like if in the opening messages, people can be really difficult sometimes with the expectation. And if they sort of are trying to set a, what's the word, like precedent of what their expectation is of you before they come, it makes
and it doesn't
me,
align with like yours.
It kind of makes me feel like they're not even trusting me as a service provider anyway, first off. So for me then, I tend to not take, I don't know if this is harsh, but take them as a client because I feel like if they don't have trust in me, it's going to be like a difficult,
it's just not going to work as a like give and take relationship, is it? If they don't trust that you can, I suppose one of my red flags which leads into this would be like if someone doesn't take your advice. So like in those messages, if you were saying I'd recommend this product for you and they're going, well, I want this, or I've heard this about that, I understand it. It's about communication, isn't it? You want people to feel comfortable and like you've explained the service properly. But if they're still saying, no, I want it done this specific way, then it's like, well, maybe I'm not the tech for you because you're not listening to me. This is what I mean.
You're putting it in a better way than me. It's when, if people are sort of, I can't think of the word, but like, what is the word?
Describe it. I'll try and think of it.
Like put up a bit of a fight for what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? Like they're quite...
Bit difficult.
Yeah, difficult. Yeah. There's definitely a word that I'm trying to think of that I can't think of. It might come to me. Then I just think this isn't going to work out. Because I think as well, like as a nail tech, you want people to feel comfortable with you, but I also think it's important for you to feel comfortable with your client. And if massively. You don't, then they're probably not going to get the best service out of you, and it's probably just not a good.
Yeah, it needs to be a good fit, doesn't it? I think that's it. Like they need, like you said, they need to feel comfortable with you, but you also need to be able to give them the best service. And if they're not somebody who you can provide that on, then it's better to be honest up front, isn't it?
So I don't know if that's a very straight up red flag, but I do know.
No, I know what you mean. It's that like those communication issues and sort of people text you and they go like, how much? And that you don't respect me and my time. You're not respecting that. Like you're not even doing like intros. Like
so not being spoken to like a human from the off chance. It's just like there's no sort of niceties or there's no politeness at the beginning of a message. I think, I'm not sure this is gonna.
Yeah, because we this is the first step into a relationship that we're going to build on, and then ultimately, I'm going to learn all about your family. You're going to learn about mine. Like I might be doing your wedding nails one day. Like we need to build a relationship, and it's the start of something. And I think if you can't be bothered to say hello to me, then like, not going to work.
Yes, I think that's a red flag for me.
I think for me, red flags. Oh, it's really hard, isn't it? I was about to say when you're on the spot, as if this isn't my podcast that I've prepared the topic for. I think you are not put on the spot right now. You just haven't thought about it till now.
Yeah, my mind goes blank so easy though.
Honestly, like I already mentioned, if someone's not sort of willing to take your advice, I think that's a bit of a red flag. I'm sort of here to advise on things, and that can be anything, like the product for them. It could be aftercare advice. It could be if I'm saying, you know, I think you need a break, like you keep picking your nails off, you're coming back to me, they're not in a state that I'm happy to work on them, you need to do X, Y, Z before I'll see you again. If they're not willing to take that advice on, then that's a bit of a red flag for me. I'm really looking that my clients do listen to me and do respect me as that expert, but you hear a lot of people who don't have clients who are willing to listen.
That is a really good one, actually. The two biggest red flags are not using cuticle oil and picking your nails, and my clients... a lot of my clients are actually really naughty, but when they do listen and use it, they're like, oh, Liv, you weren't lying. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Like cuticle oil will help, so I don't think they'll mind me saying I do actually have a couple of red flag clients
Yeah.
actually.
I think sometimes people think with cuticle oil, I think it's because you're saying you need it and then you're like, and I have some available to
definitely,
buy.
I do
They
think
think, oh,
that's
you're
what
just
it
trying
is.
to do an upsell.
Yeah.
And it's not.
No.
It's not. It is for a reason. Because ultimately, if it didn't work, then people would buy it once and then never buy it again.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no point. You don't make a lot on retail like that.
Definitely
So
not.
there's no point me stocking it if it doesn't work.
And I think the reason ultimately why we stock it as well is, one, because there's nice oils that we use that we like, but also I've found not every cuticle oil is the same. So just going into like a Boots and picking up a random one, some of them just aren't going to benefit you because they're just filled with like sort of cheap
just
filler
oils,
oils that aren't really doing anything. But like the ones we're using is ultimately because we've looked into it, used them, and know they work. So the option's there to get it. But I always say to people, I'm like, you don't have to get one now or whatever if you find one, but just be like, look at the ingredients a bit. And quite often, if someone is a bit skeptical and they go and get their own whatever, they then usually do end up just picking one up at an appointment because they're like, it did work. You were right.
Yeah,
you're not just trying to scam me.
So those are the red ones. What about green flags? What do you see in a client either in like the booking stage or like first appointment and you're like, we're gonna get on?
Well, two obvious green flags is not picking a cuticle oil, but as well as that, I love when people in those first message stages like really make the effort to be like, speak to you nicely and show like enthusiasm of why they've picked you. So like hi, like hope you're okay, like I'd absolutely love to book in with you. I've been looking at your work online. And they'll maybe show me a few examples of the types of things that they like. So kind of like I get the vibe straight away of what they're looking for from me, if that makes sense. So again, I suppose communication is a massive green flag. Just telling me exactly what they want, exactly what they expect, but in a polite, just like kind way.
Oh yeah, because it's so easy to say like, oh, if communication's not there, it's a red flag. But that doesn't mean we don't like communication. Like, communication is a good thing. It's just, like you say, communicating in a polite way.
Right way.
Done well, like, we're just both going to get the best out of this appointment and out of your nails.
Because realistically, kind of what I've just said would seem like it's contradicting what I said before, because it's like when people are telling me what they want from me, but it's the way it's said. You obviously want that. I want people to show me kind of what they expect from me, but it's showing me that they've picked me because they trust me and they like what I do, and then they're just showing me kind of what they're looking for. So then I feel like I know exactly where I am, exactly where I stand, and it's done in like a polite
Well, I think
manner.
it's also so like they're saying, oh, I love this that you do. I love that you do this style and that's what I want, therefore I've picked you, versus, oh, I want this, this and this, and it's nothing like what you do, but I want you to do it anyway. And it's like, oh, maybe we're not the right fit.
And it's more that this is what I want, and then they're like, how much? And then you'll tell them how much, and they're like, oh, well, I could go, sorry if this is red flag. They'll send me everything they want like that, and then ask me how much. I'll tell them how much. But then instead of just being like, okay, that's great, like, thank you, and leaving it, they'll say, well, actually, that's too expensive and I could get it cheaper from here.
Have you had that before? People push back on price?
Yeah, and they'll say like, oh, well, I could just go here and get it for this much, like, damn. And I'm like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fully booked, go.
Yeah, like that's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
so
like,
it's just like one of them. And again, that is absolutely fine if that's what they want to do. But it's like, I feel like there's different ways of communicating again. So it could just be like, okay, that's brilliant, thank you. I'll look into that another time. And then in their head they're thinking, oh, actually, I don't really want to pay that, so I'll go somewhere else. And that's what it is. It's out of their budget rather than like
you're too expensive. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a green flag, I'd say, when people are messaging you and then they just like respect what you do, like what you do, and how much you charge, and that's why they're booking in.
Well, it shows that they respect you as a nail tech, and then you're just gonna vibe. I think for me, a green flag it's a red flag because it's naughty, but it's a green flag because thanks for being honest. When clients are just honest and they come back and they say, I've picked them all off, I've been naughty, I'm sorry, like, this is what I've done. And I'm like, do you know what? Like, please stop, but also thank you, because when people come back, first of all, if you're like, I don't know what's happened, they've all just fell off.
They all just fell off, but there's like mud everywhere and they've clearly been doing the garden the day before.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah, they haven't all fell off. But genuinely, if it's a couple and you have picked it and you come back and you say, oh, I don't know what has happened, or, you know, it's a mystery to me, I'll start questioning, like, is it me?
Yeah.
Is it me? And it makes you sort of, especially when you're a beginner, that can cause you to really lose confidence in your work, I think. And as a beginner, it is really important, I think, to know if it is your work and your standard, or
Yeah.
if it's the client, because it could be your work,
Yeah.
and therefore you've got things you need to improve on.
Yeah.
And you need to know, was it lifting at the cuticle? Was it lifting at the free edge? And then you can be better. But if you don't know, or if people are sort of saying they've just fell off when they got picked off, you could then be trying to sort of change your prep when actually it's spot on.
Yeah.
And then,
And that's the thing. And that's something as well that comes with like a bit of experience, because in the past, like if I'd had someone, because I think sometimes as well, you can have someone that'll literally come back like 5 weeks later and they're like, oh, I've lost loads, I don't know why. And in the past I'd be like, oh gosh, so sorry, like, because I don't have as much experience. But now I'd say, oh, they've probably come off because they've left it a bit too long, they've got a bit top heavy, the balance isn't right anymore. And then you can educate someone into knowing, like, and
I
you
don't
know when
say
you
3
can
weeks because
yeah. And you know when you then like can educate someone into why that's happened, and then they're like, oh right, okay, because nails aren't indestructible, they're only there to sort of last the amount of time that's safe, which is, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks, depending on like the growth of your nails. But it's having the confidence when you've got that experience to be able to relay that to someone without panicking, thinking that
they think I'm really bad at my job. And
when I was new, I'd maybe think that they would think I was blaming them if I said you've left it too long. But you're not. You're just saying, oh, it's because, you know, your nails grow at this speed or whatever. They may have been a bit top heavy. That causes a bit of like weak spots.
Well, yeah, because I think as a nail tech, like we understand the idea of like a rebalance and how the nails are balanced. But as a client, why would you ever think, I've got this put on and it was at that point and they've built up the apex at this point and now it's moved there and therefore it's unbalanced. And then when I grab at that, it's more likely to break. Like, why would they ever think that? They just wouldn't, would they?
Wouldn't, would you say sometimes I might think, oh, but like as soon as you educate someone on it and tell them why, and then obviously
you get it,
know them, but you can't. We know it because we do it every day, but like you can't expect people to know it if you're not going to tell them. But then, like at the beginning, when you're scared to tell them things like that because you worry that, well, this is me, but I am an overthinker. I would worry that they'd think I was getting at them rather than just like educating people on it.
But again, that's just in like client communication, isn't it? Like if you're like, well, you should have come back sooner, then like obviously they'll get the client's back up and they'll be like, well, why are you blaming me? But if you're like, oh, we did go 4 weeks this time, didn't we? Yeah, you do need to be a 3-week client, really. Like, sucks for you, but that's just how fast your nails grow. When's your next one in? Do we need to look at rescheduling, etc.? Like, there's ways of doing it, isn't there, that don't put the blame on the client?
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what, that actually really annoys me with clients, and I've just done it. So like sometimes they'll put their hand in again by accident and they're like, oh come on, and they'll be like, oh gosh, and like put it up, and then I'm thinking, what do you think's gonna happen? It's not like the end of the world, like calm down. And I've just put it in and gone, oh. Like as if the lamp's going to explode because I'm let it turn on again.
I think for me, other than that, green flags would just be like girls who cheer you on, like the people who like your posts, the people who recommend you to friends, like just the good gals who just want to be there. They spread the word, like just support girls.
Love it. My favourite thing ever, and it's just like so ridiculous, really. But like if somebody like has taken a picture and their nails are in it and then they tag me in it and I'm like,
it's so funny, isn't it? Because not many clients do it. So when they do, you're like, and I think more clients would do it if they knew that not a lot do. But when you get like a little client pic, you like
know that it like makes you excited. And like, because sometimes if I'm like I'm scrolling through like, and I'll go on like one of my client stories and I see their nails in a story and they haven't tagged me, and I'm like, I message them like, nails, I can see them. Like, put me in it.
I was in the salon yesterday and I had 4 sets in, and I think it was the 4th set, and I was like, wait a minute, every set today has been a holiday set. And I was like, and I haven't taken a picture of any of them because I'm really bad at taking client pictures. But then I was like, oh, I really want to message everyone, and I am actually going to do it. I'm really going to message everyone and say, can I have a picture? Because even just one story with like the 4 of being like, these are the nails and these are the destinations. So where were they going to? One was Copenhagen. One was either Mauritius or Morocco. I'm so sorry if it's something else beginning with M and you're listening to this and I've got my M countries mixed up. But I think it was Mauritius, and then Copenhagen, and then one was to North Wales, I think, or South Wales, and one was to Corfu. And I was like, these nails are traveling.
That's actually a
The
really
cure
good
is
idea.
going global.
Yeah,
I
a really good
really
idea
want
for
them
some
in
sort of series that like the nails and the destination.
Yeah, especially now it's summer season. I thought the holiday nails would come through slightly later. I wasn't expecting it. So then to have 4 in one day and it's only May, I'm like, oh,
the jealousy I would
I
feel
know.
from that.
I want to go on my holidays.
I've done some really cute holiday nails at the moment, actually, but I've had a lot of clients going to like Disney and America.
Have you?
Yeah, and they've done like the cutest nails because they've not gone like full on Disney, but we've just had like little
Like
subtle, yeah. Like one of them was full on Disney, but it wasn't. Like it was just like just dead cute. Like we did little gold frames, and like one had like a tiny little headband in, the other one had like a tiny little rose.
You know,
just
like
you
do really good like stained glass window and like gold frame stuff, don't you? Like, I would, if I could sum your work up, that's what I would. I know that's not a very good summary because it's like 3 sentences.
I definitely do
so I would describe your work
like jewellery based
nails. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Gold details. Yeah, I like that's my favourite kind of nail. I think like nails that like are like an extension of jewellery. Like, you know.
Yeah, I love that. So I feel like we've covered a lot of things there. I have got a section of the podcast and it's called Nightmare from the Nail Desk. And basically I want nail techs to write in and submit their sort of, it could be a rant, it could be a question, a query, like a saga, a complaint, like you might just want to get some off the chest. Submit it and then we'll weigh in on the dilemma.
I feel that's such a good idea.
Because we're still new to filming, I haven't had any yet. So what I have done instead is I have asked ChatGPT to write me a saga. So I think the prompt I put in was like, I am doing a podcast and I've got a section and I want nail techs to write in, but I haven't got any yet. So can you make pretend one for me, please? Go.
It's so clever, isn't it?
Oh, the things it says, honestly. So let me get this top coated, get you in the lamp, and I will read out ChatGPT's Nightmare from a Nail Desk. My ChatGPT does actually have a name. I think it's called Zig.
Does it?
Yeah, I asked it what I'm saying him. I feel like he's a girl, a boy, but I kind of want him to be a girl. I'm going to ask him.
I wonder if everyone's ChatGPT has got a different name, or if
ChatGPT
no, so
just
I
has a name. Said, do you, like, what shall I call you? And it was like, whatever you want. And I was like, I want you to tell me your name. And he was like, and he came up with Zig. Oh, so mine's called Zig.
It sounds like a pop. I want you to tell me. Whatever you want. That's so funny.
So Zig, I feel like Zig feels too futuristic. That feels like a dystopian thing where I'll wake up in the morning and I'm like, morning, Zig.
It's like a
what is my
Ziggy
schedule for the day?
Kind of hat though, isn't it? Got that.
So, listener submission, it put in brackets, pretend. Just to reiterate to me that no one's given me a submission yet. Thanks. I know. Please send some in. I had a new client who seemed lovely when she arrived, but 10 minutes into prep, she asked if she could smoke a quick cig inside because it was raining. I obviously said no, and she rolled her eyes and said, I thought this place would be more chill. Then she asked if I could hurry it up a bit because she had a hair appointment in 40 minutes, despite booking a full builder plus art slot. I ended up rushing through just to get her out the door, and she left me a 3-star review for taking too long. I felt so deflated afterwards. I mean, what would you say to that nail tech?
One, I would, if that was me, I would cry. Because how stressful.
Yeah, that sounds stressful.
But I honestly don't know what I would do in that situation. I feel like I'd have to kind of grin and bear it a little bit, but I think that is a point where you can put a boundary in place and just sort of quick cig.
Just can I have a quick cig inside?
I think
no, and you can't have one outside either.
I think I'd just be like, that is illegal. You have not been able to smoke inside in a public place for about 25 years. So no,
you can't, hon.
Absolutely not.
I think for me, like, if I was at nail tech, I would also feel super deflated. I get why the nail tech feels deflated with the review because of the length of time. But yeah, clearly some people just don't have manners and they're just a bit wrong-uns, and this made up pretend client seems like a wrong-un. Like, who, absolutely. Like you said, how long has it been now? 15
Yeah.
years since
Are you
smoking?
asking me to break
15,
the
20
law?
years? Like, who would ask that for a start?
It must be 20 years. And I think as well, in that situation, I think you're entitled, because you can reply to reviews, can't you? I think.
Yeah, I
Sure
think
you
so.
can.
You definitely can on Google, and I use Fresher, and you can reply on there as well.
And I think you'd be entitled to like give your side of the story in that kind of review, because it's false.
Yeah, and I think if the review was sort of, she took longer than the stated appointment time, then you could maybe reply back, and you could sort of say, sometimes these things happen, I can only apologise, blah blah blah. But obviously this one was for a specific reason, so I think you're right, you could reply to a review and just sort of say, as stated on my booking system, you booked a full builder set with art. It was a 2-hour appointment. It was unrealistic for you to expect it to be done within an hour. Apologies, I couldn't meet your expectations.
And it's illegal
in this time. And you can't smoke inside. I'm sorry I couldn't meet your expectations, and I hope you find a nail tech who's faster.
Because
not who's faster. That sounds like.
But as well, like if you do, sometimes when you do go over, obviously I know it's annoying if people have plans and things, but again, if you sort of communicate that in the appointment. But at the end of the day, a lot of the time, if you are taking a bit longer, it's because you're trying to do the best job that you can.
Yeah.
And maybe what the person has asked for, again, maybe like to communicate it. But sometimes with nail art, it's really difficult to actually know
to predict
how long it's going to take, because something that you think is simple actually could end up being like a fancy set. Like chrome French, for example, I think is well harder than a normal French, because there's so many different layers, and it would look so simple to someone for that, because it's
like, especially for me, I've got my swatch books, and there's like the normal ones and then the crumbs, so they'd be like, oh, can I have a French book with that instead of that pink? I want the shiny
and
one.
it's hard, isn't it, to explain that that's different, but it's going to take more time. And ultimately, when people are taking the time, it's not because they're bad or because they're like, I'd say it's more, people should be more annoyed if someone's taking like
really quick and rushing them.
And obviously sometimes people can just do things a bit faster, but it's because people want a good result and because they care about what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you get any criticism that's bad in a review, I would much rather have she took too long than the work was bad, it didn't last, she was rude, she told me no for smoking and singing inside, she was horrible to me. Like, if all that comes out of that appointment is she's left you that review and you can defend yourself politely in the response.
Because I think as well, from an outsider's perspective, it's clear that you've not really done anything wrong.
Well, that's it. People reading reviews are regular people, and I think it's easy to forget that sometimes. If you give your side back to the story, you're not being argumentative, you're not being defensive, you're just explaining what happened. People can read through that. If you've got hundreds of 5-star reviews that say how amazing you are, and one person is like, you were too slow, and then you go, I'm really sorry that I didn't meet your expectations. However, you did interrupt to go outside and smoke. Therefore, this
definitely that
the time it took.
I do that like with hotels and stuff. Like if I'm going to a hotel, I'll go on, and if say they've got loads of good reviews, I will look at the 1-star ones and decide whether I think it was worth the other ones. I'm like, they're just being difficult. That like, no, that's not. So I think you can see through reviews, and you know when someone is just being difficult, or you know if it's actually something that's wrong and has affected it.
Yeah, definitely. So
that's
I think we've answered. I think don't feel
don't worry about it.
Don't let her knock your confidence, because it's not on you. Yeah, you like proper clients will see through that. They'll understand why.
Yeah.
And it's not anything you've done wrong. She's the one who wanted a fag in her appointment.
Inside.
It's
illegal. I'll ring the police actually.
The feds are on the way. Fab. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much of a treat it is that somebody else has done my nails, because the actual hell I give my hands is
same.
Not okay. If I'd give me a bad review. I don't treat anyone else's hands like my own, but oh my god.
No, it's been lovely chatting. I felt we've covered absolutely loads there. So hopefully people have found that somewhat interesting and useful.
be honest, I think I've gone off on loads of different directions there, so God knows what I've said. Hopefully you get some good out of that.
Same. I'm sure we will have a fantastic episode. So if anybody would love to find out more about you, see what you're up to, follow you in your nail tech career,
Thank you so
where
much.
can they find you?
On Instagram mainly. That's pretty much where I am. I'm not very good with TikTok or anything yet.
TikTok.
I need
don't
to.
Be fully booked.
Yeah, I know. I need to have a little go. I will at some point, but it's just the editing. I can't get on board with it at the moment. But yeah, Instagram at Liv4Nails with the number 4 and 2 underscores. But I'm sure we can have a little tag in the caption.
Yeah, we'll tag. Yeah, it's funny when you ask people that because
I hate saying it out loud.
Like mine's really straightforward, but then other people's are like dot dash
and mine's like
just tag.
And actually, like I do quite like my business name, but I actually think it is a bit embarrassing. So I'm like Liv4Nails, the number 4, and it's just, and it's my name, and it's just a bit. But yeah, and it's got 2 underscores, which make it a bit.
We'll tag you.
Well.
We'll tag you, and people can follow you. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Would you like to show the camera your nails?
Yes, the best bright orange. And it goes with my
very summery. It actually matches.
It does
so
go
nice
nice
with that green,
it?
doesn't it?
I feel like I'm going on holiday now. No, I'm not.
Costa del Stockport.
Yeah. There we go.
Right, with that, let's get to the beer garden.
Please.